Astral projection.
Part 2.
Part 2,
Here we
baby.
are.
Um, Welcome back to Girls Gone Spooky. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Amy. And Astral
Yeah,
Projection Part 2.
we're doing some more AP vibes. Okay, and before you start,
Yes.
we still need to do a session where we like try to meet and coordinate that, maybe during a nap time.
Yes.
But I did try it the other night.
Okay,
And
cool.
nothing really happened. But I feel like it's one of those things where like you really have to like train yourself over time. Because for me, I was trying the one where you like relax your whole body and then you like envision you're coming out of your head.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to envision coming out of my head. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm still in here.
Right. Yeah.
I kept trying and I was like, this isn't working. So I ended up going to sleep. But
yeah.
I still think we should try. And maybe I should try a different technique because I just don't think that really worked.
Yeah. I mean, that's such an abstract idea.
It's so abstract.
Yeah, because we're not supposed to leave through our heads necessarily.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and also I was trying to like envision seeing myself. Like envision looking down at my body. And I just couldn't. So we're gonna try a different technique, but I did try and failed. But I tried.
Well, yeah, I think it's a skill to be honed and worked on over time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we should definitely try, but we'll see if we still want to after today.
Oh God, yeah, that's right. Oh my God. Okay, yes. Today is all Amy since I dominated last week, so I will just be reacting.
Yes. Yeah. Although it's not like scary because obviously people still do it, but we'll just get to what it is.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like we said, this is a continuation of last week's episode, and you can probably guess from what we were just talking about, but what astral projection is like an out of body experience, usually intentional, where you can
usually
I mean,
not.
Yeah, sometimes not. And yeah, it's like your consciousness comes disconnected from your physical body, basically. And kind of like what you were just saying, I read a quote from somebody who did a lot of research on astral projection in the 70s. And he said that for him, the feeling was like lying on a sofa, getting up, and seeing your body is still there.
Whoa.
So that's how he described the sensation. So that's just a reminder of what it is. And so, yeah, last week also, Olivia talked a little bit about how in the past, mostly in the Cold War era, the US government was doing a lot of big projects and research surrounding astral projection and parapsychological research. And mostly the US government doing this research was in response to the fact that the Soviet Union was also doing it. And they had started sooner. So, in true Cold War era fashion, we had to play the cat and mouse game. Who can do this faster and more?
Like a space race, but woo woo.
Exactly. Woo woo space race. So, yeah, that's basically what happened. And then during this time, both governments I think it was kind of secret, kind of not, that we were doing this research. But anyway, that's just a little bit more background. And so, yeah, not only were the governments doing this type of research, once it became sort of public knowledge, there were some private researchers who got in on the action, including Dr. Bernard, who I just mentioned earlier. And just real quick, the biggest revelation of Dr. Bernard's research was that they were able to guide a study subject who was sleeping. to identify a 5-digit number that was written on a piece of paper and hidden on a high shelf in the room that she was sleeping in. And so
What?
she would wake up and be able to recount what the number was.
And it was correct?
Yes. So that's what he discovered. I don't know exactly the mechanics of it. But yeah.
Oh. Okay, you can't see my face, but my jaw is on the floor.
Yeah,
That's
it's
proof. Like, that's evidence. Like, it's real.
exactly.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know if they were able to replicate it more than once or with a different person, but still, the fact that it happened once is pretty compelling.
That's bonkers.
Yeah. So that was his research. And then another person who he worked with, but they had separate teams, his name was Edward Pullman, and he worked from Dallas, Texas. And he was particularly concerned about this, like, maybe rumor, maybe truth, that the Soviets were attempting to, like, cultivate an army of psychic spies who could use
Oh, okay.
astral projection. Yeah, we were also talking about that last week, to be able
Yeah,
to sort of infiltrate like government
yeah,
buildings, meetings, documents,
yeah,
whatever. So he was freaked out by that, I think rightfully so, if you believe
yeah.
that that's a possibility. But he also felt like a sense of urgency because of this research that had been leaked from the Soviet Union as well, that was done by a husband and wife, Semyon and Valentina Kirlian.
That's a pretty name,
Who
Valentine.
knows? Yeah, that is pretty. Valentina. Um, and so their research, it seemed to provide proof of us having an aura, or like an energetic astral body right outside of our physical one.
That's so cool.
I know, very cool. And so I don't know, again, the mechanics of that, but it was something to do with photography, and frequencies and whatever. But they were able to
Whoa.
capture like bluish green auras around people in photos. And they also determined, and there was no detail in this article about how they did this, but they determined that what they were seeing in these photos that they called auras was
Mhm.
not just light, it actually had a minute but detectable mass to it. So that's, people were like, that's an
What?
astral body because it has mass. So it's not just
Like
energy,
heat,
it's,
like
yeah,
thermal, whatever.
right. Hmm. So,
I want my uncle to weigh in on this so bad. Like, he's such a skeptic about all of these things.
yeah, let's call
Oh
him,
my god. Like,
put him on the
seriously.
spot right
Yeah,
now.
phone a friend.
Yeah. So,
Oh my god.
yeah.
It
So
has mass? I really wanna know how they determined that.
I do too. And I should have looked that up for this, but I
No, it's fine.
honestly it might have been over my head anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't understand it
Yeah,
anyway.
because they were describing the process of their photography stuff.
Mhm.
And it was like, it's just a bunch of words. So, um, but yeah, that, I think that scientist or whatever he is, researcher, he felt as though the Soviet Union was like 25 years ahead of us in this type of research. So he was like freaked out about that and wanting to catch up. Um,
Mhm, okay.
but anyway, through his research, he had as part of his team a woman named Beverly Chalker. And Pullman would hypnotize Chalker and send her on what they called astral flights, so astral projections,
Mhm.
to specific destinations.
Out of
And
Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt, but out of context, this literally sounds like some weird sort of, like, torture. Like, he's
yeah,
"I'm gonna hypnotize you
uh
and
huh.
send you to space." Like,
Yeah, it's like a movie villain, like
right? Yeah.
I'm
like
gonna steal the moon.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
like Mojo Jojo from
yeah.
what was that? Kim
Um,
Possible?
yeah, exactly.
So funny.
Yeah, or was that Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah,
Mojo
that's what I was
Jojo.
just gonna
Yeah.
say, or is it Powerpuff Girls? Oh my god, so Mojo Jojo.
Yeah. Mojo Jojo. Yeah,
Didi,
funny.
get out of my laboratory. Dexter slap.
Yep. It
Okay, sorry.
totally it does sound like that. I mean,
You're
yeah,
like, he had this
it's
assistant, he would hypnotize her.
yeah.
Okay, weird,
Yeah. This is some
kinky.
odd research being done. Yeah, it totally sounds like a movie villain
So
kind of
funny.
thing to do. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was harmless, thankfully, what they were doing. And
Was
on
consenting, it seems like.
yes, exactly. So on one flight, I guess, Beverly was hypnotized and he asked her to project from Dallas into an acquaintance of theirs, their home in New
Mm,
Jersey. So, like across the
mm.
country.
Joycey.
And Joycey. And Beverly, when she did that, she reached the home that she was supposed to go to, and she reported seeing the man, this acquaintance, asleep on his bed with the light on and with the book that he had been reading having fallen on the floor next to him.
Mm.
And she described his pajamas and the decor of the room. And the next
Cute.
morning, they called this acquaintance and he confirmed every detail. He said, that was the book I was
Oh,
reading, those were the pajamas I was wearing, all of
what
that.
are you wearing? Hey,
Exactly.
Steve, what are you wearing?
Yeah, but that is
It just gets
so.
kinkier and
I
kinkier.
know. Exactly. This is all just their sexploits over
Mhm.
the astral plane.
Literally.
But yeah, I mean, that is
That's
kind of creepy.
amazing. But
It's,
that's amazing. Like, how oh my god, I feel like my mind is, like, racing with, like, what that means. Like, you it it's like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, if you get harmed in the dream, you get harmed in real life. Like,
mhm,
if your astral body I mean, to me, what that sounds like that the aura is not just energy, but it has mass.
mhm,
That to me implies, like, it's maybe, like, your soul, kind
mhm.
of? And that
Yeah,
if it can be removed from your body temporarily, then
mhm,
if it were harmed somehow,
right.
what would happen to you? Would you, like, be in a coma? Like, you'd be a
Yeah.
vegetable?
Mhm. Well, let's keep reading.
Oh god, oh god, okay. Oh god.
um, so yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna answer the question, but maybe.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, as more and more of this research was becoming public, the interest to partake in this among average citizens continued to grow.
Mhm.
And it wasn't always harmless. So, this is an
Of
example
course.
from a story. Let's see, it was on Medium, and the author is Nick Ripat- Ripatrizone. Ripatrizone, probably Italian, but
Retrozone!
just so over the top. Um, but okay, so Nick, he wrote about the story of Robert, and here's another name that I have no idea how to pronounce. Antos Antoschik, Antoschczyk.
And yeah, Antijic.
Antoschczyk. Well, we'll call him Robert. We're on a
Imagine,
first
like
name basis.
imagine marrying first name basis. Imagine marrying into that family.
Yeah, no.
You're like, "Oh, you want our kids to put that onto a Scantron someday? We're shortening
Yeah,
it,
no.
or you're taking my
Mm-mm.
name."
Yeah, I would not be taking his name anyway, but
Mm-mm.
yeah.
True. Yeah, respect.
Yeah, I'm a Keith
Respect,
through and
Amy. You're
through.
Keith
You hear
for
me?
life.
Keith for life.
You hear me? Keith for life.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I mean, your name is just too good to change.
Thanks. I mean, I like your name too.
Thank
Obauer.
you. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Bauhaus.
Bauhaus. Okay, here we go. So Robert, he was, so this is the mid 1970s to paint a picture. He
Okay.
was a weightlifter, martial artist, vegetarian, beekeeper.
Okay.
So here's all his
What a
descriptions.
weird array of identity,
Right.
like
And
identifiers.
yeah, he was kind of all over the map, and he eventually developed a passion for yoga as well. And not just the physical side of yoga, but the spiritual side, which also led him down the path of learning about astral projection. And yeah, given his wide array of interests, you can tell that he was like a searcher. And when he
Mhm.
started learning about astral projection, he just could not get enough. He couldn't stop.
Yeah.
So he wanted to know everything he could, and he decided to go to India and study with a master yogi there. And
Yogi.
interestingly, that same yogi, or yogis, I guess, they were also approached and studied by the KGB for their research
Whoa.
earlier on. So they're involved in this in many facets.
The
Um,
KGB is terrifying.
yeah, they are. Like, who even knows what they're up to most of the time?
Mhm. Also, speaking of KGB, sorry, I'm
Mhm.
like really just a chaos agent today. Did you see that Putin like fell down the stairs or something and like soiled himself?
Yeah, I saw
There are all
that.
these rumors that he's like ill,
Yeah, I did see something, but I didn't see that
fatally.
about soiling himself. Oh man.
I think that was the like article. Someone internally in, I guess, what, the Kremlin
Hmm.
shared that, like leaked
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
Um, so he may be sick, and apparently he's willing to have talks with Biden about Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
Just like some shit's about to go down, I think. Like
Yeah.
he knows he's fucked.
Hmm. Well, I suppose
What's
that's
that
good.
quote? Yeah, what's that quote from the Italian Job? If there's one thing I know, you don't fuck with Mother Nature, mothers-in-law, and motherfucking Ukrainians. I mean, those guys are just absolute gangsters.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, "Oh, you're trying to invade our country? The
No.
fuck you will."
Yeah.
"Oh, you
Yeah.
cursing? We'll take it back." God.
Yeah. They're strong people, that's for sure.
So strong. It's like
Yeah.
so incredible.
And just living with that for how long now? It's, I mean,
Mm.
when that
Oh, yeah.
first started, it was all over the news, and now it's like
Yeah.
it's still happening, but we're all able
Every
to not
day. Yeah.
think about it as much
Yeah.
anymore.
I know.
Wow.
It's so wild. It's
Yeah.
so wild. When I was in Morocco, I met a lot of Russians. There were a lot of Russians at the surf camp. And I mean, the men in particular of like draft age had to leave because they would
Hmm.
be drafted.
Yeah.
And there's all of this like misinformation. So like this one guy I met, Alex, who's like lovely, he was basically saying like, I mean, none of these young people support the war, and
Mhm.
most of the like the adults, I mean, he's an adult, but like his mother, for example, like she doesn't want there to be a war either, but there's so much propaganda because there's no free
Mhm.
press.
Yeah.
So he has a male cousin, I think, who is like 25 or something, he said, and he's like, I've been trying to convince him to leave, and he just won't leave. And both his
Hmm.
mom and I guess his aunt or uncle, his parents are like, oh, well, the only people they send to the front lines are people with military experience. And Alex is like, you actually fucking believe that? Like, that is a lie. Like, that
Mhm.
is just so not true. Like,
Mm.
and these kids are dying. Like, this isn't
Yeah.
a game.
No.
But they don't care. And the oligarchs don't give a fuck about the people
That's for sure.
whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
It's
definitely
just
true.
so it was just so interesting, and it kind of broke my heart because he
Mhm.
grew up in St. Peter's is it Moscow or St. Petersburg? I can't remember. One of the guys I met was from Moscow, one was from St. Petersburg. I can't remember which it was. I was like, "How did you like living there?" And he's like, love it. Like, it is the
Hmm.
most incredible city. It's so beautiful. Like, people
Wow.
are amazing. It's the best. And I was like, "Oh, do you think you'll ever move back there?" And he looked so sad. He was
Oh,
like, "No, I don't think
yeah.
it's going to be possible for me to ever move back. At least
Well,
not under Putin." But
yeah,
hopefully, so I
that's
was like, "Well,
sad.
I hope that changes for you someday." Like, because I
Hmm.
mean, he even said like visiting even right now isn't really an option. Like, and he's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's my home. Like, it'll always be my home, and I
Mhm.
can't go back. Anyway, sorry, this
Yeah.
was such a sad tangent, but I just the KGB thing just reminded
Yeah.
me, and a
Yeah.
news podcast where I express my political
Well,
opinions.
why not? We can do
Why
whatever
the
we
heck
want. This is
not?
our
Yeah,
platform.
this is our platform. So like I
Yeah.
signed up for ghosts, not KGB conversation.
Well, they go hand in hand, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
KGB, kill a ghost boys.
Hmm.
Right? That's what it stands for.
Exactly. That is spot on.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. Let's leave the KGB behind. So,
Yes, goodbye.
goodbye. Um, all right, where was I? Okay, so Robert is studying in India. He becomes more and more practiced in astral projection. And in one of his experiences that he had, he was doing the method when you're sleeping, I guess, um,
Mhm.
to go on this projection. And he encountered, quote, a woman, an exotic beauty with a captivating voice calling to him from the cosmos. So
Oh, who
here,
dat?
yeah. we so now I was summarizing up to this point, but now I'm just going to
Okay.
read this
Okay.
rest of this stretch. So, for a single man still in his 20s, the promise of a kind of transcendent love interest held great appeal. With his
Mm.
ongoing training and projecting his soul out of his body, he was ready to go as deep into the astral sphere to find her as necessary. On June 1st, 1975, Robert told his roommate Neil he was not to be disturbed. He needed unbroken concentration to enter the astral planes and find the mysterious woman with whom he wanted to make contact. He went into his bedroom and locked the door. In his room, Robert stretched out on his back. He formed his hands into soft fists and meditated in order to loosen the bonds that usually hold soul and body tightly together. Experimenters in astral projection describe a sensation at once tranquil and disquieting of separating from the body with a deafening sound, a roar of wind in their ears. Let's skip forward. Some have nausea, blah, blah, blah. For
Ugh.
Robert, his journey to find the irresistible female spirit had begun. Was it another experimenter whose soul beckoned him, or someone not of this world?
Hmm.
Which we sort of talked about that, I think, last week also, where
Yeah.
somebody on Reddit was saying to always ask whoever you see there to
Mhm.
identify themselves because they might
Yeah.
be masking as something else.
Mhm.
Um, so, good question. But
Yeah.
anyway, Neil, the roommate, had begun to worry, then fret, and then panic. It had been 3 days since his roommate Robert had locked himself in his bedroom with.
3 days?
I know. Like, I would give my roommate 24 hours. I would not wait three
Maybe. Can
days.
you
Yeah.
imagine if when we were in university, I came stomping into your room and was like, "I am not to be disturbed under any circumstances," and then disappeared at like, click,
No,
lock my door, and I disappear for 3 days? You would have
no.
broken down. You would have broken in the window. You would have
Yeah.
been like, "Bitch, wake up.
Yeah.
It's time for a snack.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Drink some water before you
That
die of dehydration."
that would not have lasted that long. But yeah, 3
That's
days.
crazy.
So, yeah, he had strict instructions not to be disturbed, and there hadn't been a peep since he went in. Finally, Neil busted down the door to find Robert dead on his back, his thumbs between his index and middle finger, like this. So he looked frozen, as if the warmth of his soul had been torn from his body, and he was now a cold shell, empty. He was smiling.
No.
That detail I don't like. Ugh, no.
That's creepy as fuck,
Yeah.
dude. What
So
happened to him? And he can't tell us.
exactly. So yeah, we'll continue. So the police came. They were baffled. Um, Robert had been in peak health at this time.
Yeah.
He had no pre existing conditions. And when they did an autopsy, there was no, quote, good anatomic cause of death. We
I was
simply
gonna
could
say
not find a reason why he
an
died.
autopsy. What the hell?
Yeah. So the experts were getting desperate. So Dr. Paul Geekus dug into research on mystics. Yeah, Geekus. He consulted Indian scientists, whom he reported tell me that this form of meditation can be very dangerous if the person does not know what he is doing. However, Robert studied with these
Right.
people, so I don't know if that's what it was either.
So what form of meditation? Like,
Right,
to
like,
rip your soul out of your own body? Like, what?
yeah, I mean, pretty much. So Geekus and others theorized that Robert had died while in a deep self induced trance that slowed his heart to a point where his brain received too little blood.
Oh, shit.
But then this other person, Asika, they call her, a local
Mhm.
astrologer and friend of Robert, thought of it differently. Quote, there's really no explanation except that he decided not to return to his body.
That's what I was thinking. That if
Yeah.
she said this woman of the cosmos was like,
Mm-hmm.
be with me,
Come
but you
with
have
me.
to leave your body
Mm-hmm.
behind.
Yes. So, psychic suicide, they call it. Um,
What?
yeah, which could be another subject, even if we felt like digging into something that's
Yeah.
probably pretty hard to talk about. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, psychic suicide,
Whoa.
even to believers in the paranormal, seemed far fetched for a young man with Robert's zest for life. But if he had been prevented from returning, the thought was
Right.
too horrifying. Everyone groped for an answer. For the first time in the history of the United States, the newspapers carried headlines announcing that astral projection had taken a human life. So
It's a
dramatic.
bold
But
statement.
yeah. So that article continues for a long time. It's a very long article. Um, but basically, it just, after this incident, it really shook this community of people who were
Of course.
into
Because how
astral
scary.
projection. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're like, "Oh, this is this, like, amazing thing I can do that allows me to travel to different places and blah, blah, blah," and then to find out, like, it also could kill you.
right. Exactly.
But
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, what the fear was, is there something up there now preventing people from going back? And could that be like a monster? Could it
yeah,
be people who have been researching this, like what you were talking about last week with maybe the people that defend the Pentagon and stuff from the astral plane? So I
wow.
don't know, but basically that's what the remainder of the article was about, was people who had been in this community dealing with the aftermath. So,
Wow.
yeah, but that was his story, and we'll never know, I guess, what really happened with
No,
him.
that's really sad.
Yeah,
And,
I
yeah,
know.
scary. Like, is it a
Hmm.
monster or what
Right.
was
Yeah, like what do you encounter up there? I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if, like you just referenced from last week, like, like, show your true form, like, asking that, like, identify yourself, because
mhm,
I think, you know, it would be one thing for him to have made a conscious decision to stay there with her or it,
mhm,
assuming it was honest about what it was.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, what if it, like, lured like a siren almost, like,
mhm.
lured him in
Yeah.
under the pretense of being this beautiful woman of the
Mhm.
cosmos, and then was like bait and switch and was like a big
Yeah,
scary monster. Also, for how long was he dead in there?
I know. I don't know. They didn't say in the
Is
article.
it 72 hours how long you can go without water? It's not that long.
Yeah,
Or is
it is not that long. Let's see. How long? I think it's shorter than I would guess.
yeah.
How long without
Can you
water?
hear Binks
Oh,
purring?
no.
He's being so loud.
It's about 3 days.
Oh, it is 3 days. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
The smile is really
Mm-hmm.
eerie.
Yeah, because does that imply that he was happy when he died? Like he
That
reached
he
her?
chose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's what it is.
The thing
'Cause,
about that like whole identify yourself thing is like what's to prevent an entity from lying? Like
yeah.
if it can ask itself, it could tell a
Mm-hmm.
lie.
Yeah, that's for
Maybe
sure.
I don't know, the rules are different. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe so.
It's interesting.
There's so much we don't know. And
I
this
know.
is another thing that we might never know with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really interested in I'm not going to use the S word, but I'll call it psychic death. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's like something really interesting about that because I'm less interested in choosing to end your life in that way and more
Yeah.
interested in could psychic murder happen? Like
Mm,
if you voluntarily well, two things. One, is it possible for someone else to like hypnotize you and
mm,
remove your soul from your body to the point where your body's basically
right.
starved of your soul for long
Mm-hmm.
enough to kill you?
Mm-hmm.
And or if you voluntarily remove your soul from your body to astral project, could something kill you?
Right. While you're in the bless
Sorry.
you.
Like,
While you're in the astral plane, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like kill your body while you're out of it, but
Mm-hmm.
like kill your soul.
Your astral body, which apparently
Yeah.
has mass.
'Cause
So,
I'm
yeah.
we need to do more on this
I
topic.
agree.
I'm not done.
Yeah, I mean, this could be like a full-fledged thesis that we could
Literally.
write at this
You could
point.
literally do a podcast just all about this.
Yeah. Because one thing
I'm
keeps leading to another.
fascinated. I'm
Yeah.
so fascinated.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, hopefully by next time we'll have tried this
Yeah. Yeah.
if we want to.
In the astral realm.
Mhm.
Also, I think the most important thing is gonna be deciding on a location that we both know well and that
Yeah.
feels super safe.
Mhm.
Like, not
What
somewhere
would
where
that
there will
be?
be other people. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking originally the Cookie Monster, our university
Mhm.
house, but
Mhm.
then I was like, well, people probably live there now, so I don't really wanna show up
Yeah.
there and then have there be fucking randos.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
but maybe, like, Montagna d'Oro or, like, someplace like
Mhm.
that,
Yeah. Beautiful.
um,
That'd be nice.
or even, like, somewhere on well, I guess campus would be occupied, but yeah, well, we can think about it.
Yeah.
Um, also, I was thinking did you have more to add, by the way?
No.
Okay. Um, I was thinking in terms of, like, future episodes too that, like how we did for Halloween, the, like, scary stories, I
Mhm.
was thinking we could do a similar one for our, like, Christmas episode.
Oh, spooky Christmas.
Spooky Christmas!
Like the
It's a Merry
Krampus.
Christmas! Exactly, and they don't have to be, like, holiday themed, but there probably
Right.
will be a ton of Halloween themed ones.
Yes. Yeah.
And they can be, like, no sleep too, like, they don't have to be
Mhm.
confirmed to be real. I just think,
Yeah.
like, that was such a fun episode because it's, like,
Yeah, it was.
around the campfire telling scary stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Holidays, yeah. We should just celebrate them however we want to.
Exactly. Um, my mom was joking that because she's not used to having a cat in the house anymore,
Yeah. Mhm.
and she was saying that the first couple nights, that he's been here, she would, like, be like, go to the bathroom, whatever, with the door open or would, like, walk by and see his little black shape moving and be like,
Scary.
"Little black demon." And then she'd be like, "Oh, it's good."
Oh, of course.
He's
roaming
such a
around.
for attention. He's literally, like, stretching his whole body out in front of me, so
Oh.
I can you see his ears?
Yeah, I can see him.
Also,
He's
look
so
at my pajamas, they're covered in
yeah,
kitties.
you're matching.
My
So
mom got them
cute.
for me.
Oh, I love them.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm sending you off to dinner because 'cause you're late, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
Um, but thank you for accommodating my lateness today, and thank you everyone for listening. We hope you're as
Yes.
interested in this topic as we are because I think we're gonna be talking about it a lot.
Yeah. Are
Um,
are you gonna see your
very
uncle soon
soon.
in person? Because you can just force
Um
him to
I
answer.
will. I'm gonna maybe I'll message him. I'll put a note to myself to message him when this one airs and ask him
Okay.
to listen so we can talk
Yeah.
about it when I see him. Because
Okay.
I'll definitely see him for Christmas, but I should see
Yeah.
him before that. They usually will come over for like a pizza movie night, so to my
Okay.
mom. So hopefully he'll come over and then I can pick his brain.
Okay. He could be
And
a
also, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he could actually be a co-host
Yeah,
on
exactly. He
the
could be a
podcast.
guest.
Uh-huh.
Well, also, if you don't mind sending me the article about that
Yeah.
couple, Valentina and whatever the other guy's name was,
Mhm.
um, and then maybe I'll try and do some research about like the scientific
Yeah.
approach to how they proved the mass piece,
Mhm.
um, and see if he has any thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Mhm. That sounds
I
good.
mean, he's not like an astrophysicist, but
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
um,
Okay. He'll have thoughts.
yes, he'll have thoughts. Okay, amazing. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Girls Gone Spooky and email us your spooky/AP experience stories to girlsgonespooky at gmail.com.
Mhm. Yep.
And stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.